the aim is very simple, is to have reparability scoring of a product, of a specific product. We will focus on an air dryer today. So when you want to evaluate a new product, you can just start a new evaluation. And I will just give you an example here. What's very interesting is that we did the big work by defining kind of priority parts by product. So for example, if I want to study an air dryer here, I have the possibility to preload the specific parts that will be studied. And it's a very big help for you because it will be done on more than 150 kind of products. So it could be television, it could be many kinds of different products. So you will have a preload data set of parts that will help you do the evaluation. You are not, it's not mandatory to use it. You'll see it's an option. And I will quickly show you what's happening when you choose it. You have your brand new evaluation and you have already the list of the parts that you will have to study. So it's a big help from the beginning for you to be able to identify them. Okay, so I won't start by a brand new evaluation. I will go on the existing one to gain time. So when I start my evaluation, I have two big categories of steps. I have the collection of information that enables me to have a list of the parts and associated information. And then we will go through all the criteria. One thing that's very important to precise is that we base our methodology on a European standard, which is EN 45554. Okay, so all the criteria you see here on the right of the screen are in this methodology. And we use them and we precise them to make our own methodology. Okay. So first step here that you see is the sub-assembly that are available to sell. Okay, it's just an example here. Here, the manufacturer will sell together the control and the power supply kit, which is a kit including different kind of parts, and we will see what's inside this kind of sub-assembly. If I don't have any sub-assembly, I can go to the next step, which is the step I previously showed you, the step with all the priority parts. So I will enter all the priority parts of my product. So the motorized fan, the heating elements, the power cable, the control knob, and the filters and the PCB board here for this example. So it's quite an exhaustive list to show you today. And you will enter two important kind of information. The kind of functional involvement. Is it primary? Do I need specifically this part for the product to be able to functionate? So is it more aesthetical, for example, part? So it's not very important if it fails, okay? And then you have a failure rate. You can have a precise one if you have after sales services, for example, and you have 0.8, or you can choose, if you don't have very precise data, more three kind of levels, low, medium, or high, okay? Associated to it, you can select if this specific part is sold in the sub-assembly or not, and the price of this part if a consumer wants to buy it, okay? And you have the cost price for the manufacturer. You can enter it or not, it's a choice, okay? So once you have it, you can save, of course, your data, and you will have prioritization of the weighting of the parts. And why is it important? Because you will have some parts that are more important than other ones. If you have a high failure rate part, like the motorized fan, for example, it will be more important than the filters, for example, or a PCB board that won't have that much failures compared to other kind of parts, okay? You can modify it by hand if it's not very adaptable to your product. And then you will add 4 more data. So you have the preset of your lists that you enter firstly. And then you had 4 data. The kind of profile that have access to this part, is it authorized repairer or is it everybody? Me, us, as an end consumer, for example. The number of availability in years, the number of steps, and the tools, the kind of tool you need to have access to this part when you dismantle your product and you want to change the part. And that's all for the collection data related to all the parts. And then the last steps is just to identify the kind of documentation you have access to. Do you have at the manufacturer a repair manual, and who can access it? Is it authorized repairers? Is it all kind of professional repairers? Is it end consumers? You can choose it for all the kind of documents. You have essentials one, as you see, very important one. You have other ones here, and other one to complete the first one you could have. So yeah, you can, for each of them, select the kind of accessibility. Okay, and this close the collection of information. After these steps, then we start the evaluation of each criteria, and I will show you an example about one of them. The first one, for example, we will see later that we have two kind of criteria, very technical one related to the dismountable of the product, and we have more what we call organization one, which is related to availability or spare parts, for example. So not technical one. This first one is a technical one. I will quickly explain it. It's related to the fact that can I reuse the system of fixing my parts? For example, is it screws, or is it do I have glue and I cannot remove my parts? So you have, for all the criteria, different levels. Okay, the first one, the A level, is always the best one, and then it's not less repairable. Okay, so if I have my motorized fine that is fixed with screws, then I'm in class A. And you have to do the evaluation with all the parts, all the priority parts you have. What we added, what's very interesting and important, it's pictures and explanation of what's inside each class, of course. What's not done in the standard. You just have three classes, which is already very interesting, but we precise what we call removable, what we call not reusable, and what we call class C. So you have specific pictures of what's existing in industry, so you are able to position yourself in the different classes, okay? So you see here different kind of screws, pins, quick lock, etc. Class B, where you have soldering, for example, where you have circlips, which you can find in industry, and class C, when I cannot dismantle my parts without damaging the product. So glue, things like this. Okay, so what's very interesting is that you have this kind of PDF information for all the 15 criteria very exhaustively. If I go to the second one, the kind of tools I need, then you can again download the PDF, study it. You have all the pictures showing if you need tools, if it can be done by hand, what's a standard tool, and things like this. So this is done for all the criteria. So for all the 15 criteria, you evaluate all the parts, and then you are able to have the results, of course, what's interesting, to be able to improve the practices and to understand what's done on the product. So what do you have here? You have, of course, a final global score, which is 64 here, an associated letter, and then you have two sub-scoring, a technical one and an organization one, as I said to you before, and you have them, the type here in the table just below. Why is it interesting? Because sometimes you just work on the technical part of the product, for example, and you want to make it very dismantleable, but you don't have you don't drive the processes about organizational, about selling part. It's not your work. So you will focus on the technical repairability, and you have this tool and this scoring made for you, where you can focus on the kind of tools you need, the work environment, the skill level, all these criteria, which are the technical one. And you can study the scoring and try to improve it, of course. And you have the other one, which is more related, you see here, about spare parts ability, return options, and things like this. Interesting point that I didn't say, that we added the criteria of the price of the parts, which is not in the standard, in the European standard at the moment. And of course, we all know that it's a very important point. If the repairing is too expensive, if my part is too expensive, I won't repair my product and I will change it. So that's why it's very central for us, and we added it. and its decision, and we try to push it to Europe to make the same, because it's very central point. So you have first scoring by criteria. You can identify very quickly where you have to improve. For example, in my example, I sell my spare parts. They are available, but they are very expensive. So many people won't buy them to change the part. That's why I don't have, one of the reasons I don't have very high scoring here. So I can try to improve, firstly, this kind of scoring, you can see, and you can make a focus on the specific parts too, because I can have very big differences between them. For example, here my power cable has a 0.1 because we consider that its price is very, very high, so nobody will change it. Okay, because it's sell in a big sub-assembly, I will have to pay more than 60 euros to change it. So given the price of the product itself, nobody will change it. So it's a big improving I could do here. It's selling by unity this power cable to a lower price, for example. So I have this vision, and then I am able to improve the practices because I have an analysis and recommendation on this page for each criteria. For example, if I take the first one, I have again the description exhaustive of the class and suggestion for improving for the criteria and for the parts too. And I have the same, you see it for all criteria. For the tools, for example, I have very concrete guidelines to improve the repairability of the product. So that's what I find in the results. Then of course I can download. It's a help page. I have a lot of data on this help page to understand what's a primary function, and everything is in this document. And I can download reports, PDF report, where I have all this kind of information here. I have one of them is a synthetic report, and one of them is a very detailed report with more than 40 pages, where you can find all this information and precise guidelines. Okay, that's what very interesting too, to share it, for example, internally or externally. Okay, so next step, what's interesting here, where you have a first scoring, is that you are able to improve your practices and to make a comparison between the first one you have and what we call the variable. It means that you won't lose all your precious first data. Okay, it's your concrete real evaluation, but you are able to create a variant in the software. So it's a copy of the existing one, and you can just on this copy, okay, change the results the way you want without losing the first one. Just save it, okay, and then you will see the result on the result page, okay, and it's unlimited, so you can try new things like what will happen if I change these screws, what will happen if I create a repair manual, which is very, very central in this evaluation, and what are the consequences on the scoring. And you can, it's a very interesting way to make decision, concrete decision, saying, okay, we could gain more than 50 points just by creating this manual and reducing the price of these parts. Let's do it, because it's not that complicated. If it's other kind of decision, it's reconception the product is of course another kind of costs, but you will see it on the criteria, and it will help you make this kind of big decisions. And to start with small steps, it's very, very useful and concrete too. So when I have created my variant and my comparison, I can compare them, see them very easily on this kind of graphics. For example, I have 3 versions here of my hair dryer. I have the first one, which is the one I showed you with 64. I have a second one where I tried to improve the technical parts of the product, but it's not that useful. And you have the third one where lower the price of the part. I created more documents, and then you can see the improving of the score. That is very, very useful. And I can see on the screen, compare it, of course, on any point, and it's easy to communicate internally with your management, for example, saying, okay, what we can do is improving this part or this point just by doing this. So let's do it, because it's very useful. And what's very interesting is that we already saw it when we worked with manufacturers. Some of them lowered the price of the parts, for example, directly after using this tool to improve the repairability. And it's very concrete, because people will more and more change these parts because it's less expensive. And I think that's it for what I wanted to show to you today. Maybe it's a lot of information, but I hope you see that it's a very simple tool. Okay, it's you can create an evaluation when you know how to use it in less than 2 hours. If you have all the information, it's very, very simple, and it's a very concrete one. And just before waiting for your question, I wanted to add a very little point related to regulation. I don't know if you heard about the ESPR and the DPP, the Digital Product Passport, but there will be a place for repairability scoring in it, okay? And it's coming very fast. In 2026, there will be an horizontal scoring of repairability, okay? And there is this European methodology. So we really think that they will use it. It's already the case with new indicators on smartphone, which are coming this year. On washing machine, they all use this European methodology as we do. So it's a very concrete way to prepare yourself as a manufacturer to what's coming on the regulation on this digital product passport.
We have a question.
Yes.
About using the token.
Yes, it's a nice question, because you see it on my screen. I have this yellow point here. I have 3 left. Okay. So what's used for? I have the same icon here. It means that when I finish my first evaluation, okay, I have 3 modification. I'm able to do 3 modification on this kind of data here, because we estimate that they shouldn't be modified. Okay, they shouldn't help you to improve your repairability. They are very concrete data. You shouldn't have to modify it because it could be cheating, for example. It could be I give you an example. You understand that you have a very low score on a specific part. You shouldn't be able to remove it just to improve your scoring. Okay, it's real, it's in your product. So that's why you could have some things to modify, and you have 3 modification, but the rest of this kind of information is fixed. Okay, that's why you have these tokens here. But of course, you are unlimited on the modification of all the rest of the evaluation. Okay, all the criteria. You don't have to use any kind of tokens here. Okay, it's a nice way to reduce bias in this kind of evaluation and remove parts when you shouldn't remove any parts or modify any kind of information from the beginning.
Thank you, François. It was very
Thank you.
clear.
Thank you again to L'Oréal teams. We worked a lot with them. Thank you, Philippe. Thank you, Aldina. I saw you on the participants. It was very interesting to together use this tool and improve it. It's a very concrete way to make a great tool.